Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Morning Crow Tarot Show. My name's Matt, and I hope this reading finds you well. I'm going to go ahead and start this reading by casting a few runes out of this mead horn. It's a noisy process, so if you have some sound sensitivities, please turn your volume down in 3, 2, 1, and go. Alright, there's 3. This one came out first. Ansus, Thorasaz, and Berkana. Let's place these here so we can see them better. Okay, so again we have Ansus, Thorazaz, and Berkana. Ansus is Odin's rune. It's the rune of insight. Thorazaz is Thor's rune, or the giant rune. Can be a defensive rune or a kind of a danger rune. Here I'm getting it's more of a defensive position. And then Berkana, the goddess rune, or literally birch. It's the rune of fertility, birth, that sort of thing. So I'm getting the sense that this is going to be reading about struggles and getting an insight to those struggles pertaining to maybe like home life, partnership, or maybe like a feminine energy. So with Berkana meaning goddess, it could be someone needs to balance their divine feminine. And with Thorazaz here, it could be defensive, or it could be like a danger. So it could be that someone is in like a dangerous level of masculine energy, like threatening to act rash or something. And this reading here, Odin's coming out to give us insight into that. It's telling us to be careful with this masculine energy, and we need to bring in the feminine to balance things. So let's see what the cards say here. I did smoke cleanse, and shuffle these already. But we'll do it again. Please keep in mind this is a general reading, as always. And so take what resonates and leave the rest. It's going to be an interesting reading. It could be something of a warning. Thor's rune, or Thorazaz, it's definitely a double-edged sword. One more shuffle and then a cut. And we'll begin. All right, let's get this. Cool. All right, the Querent, 10 of Wands, burden of some sort, crossed by the Tower. Yep, there could be troubles on the home front here. Above us, the Hermit, card of self-reflection. Below us, 2 of Swords, card of peace or blockage, choices. Behind us, the Hanged Man, card of changing perspectives. And in front of us, the Knight of Swords, the swift truth, moving towards truth, or a good idea, new idea. And in the current energy, we have the Emperor. And what others see, the Devil. Alright, this might be a bit public. And in our hopes and fears, And the Six of Pentacles, card of discernment and charity. Out of the way. Finally, Queen of Swords. Card of past truths, curt truths, simple, fast facts. Okay, what I'm getting here is this is a imbalance of the masculine and feminine. The Ten of Wands here, as far as the minor arcana goes, that is a whole lot of masculine wrapped up and dragging somebody down. And what the Tower here is telling us is that this needs to drop. This needs to go. And I think with some self-reflection, we'll be able to prevent this from being an absolute disaster. It's kind of the difference between a crash landing, or excuse me, a total plane crash and a crash landing. One's controlled and one is not. The controlled demolition of something here. This is acting as something of a warning, but also a necessity to let something go. And I think what the Hanged Man is telling us in the past is this like kind of Pisces water energy is we've come to grips with this. Somebody knows that something's got to give here soon. And there's currently self-reflection happening in the Hermit card, Virgo energy. The Two of Swords, I think this is the Two of Swords here in the foundation is definitely this is how we're going to keep this from becoming a complete catastrophe. And I think it has something to do with a truth and perhaps an inner truth. Somebody's aware of a truth that they have. And if this is indeed a relationship, there might be a need for extreme honesty here. Yeah, I keep coming back to that imbalance, the masculine and feminine. And this is interesting because we have the Emperor, which is of course the ultimate of the masculine in our current energy. And perhaps that is what's telling us, that's there to tell us that we're being far too masculine in this. And that doesn't necessarily mean that this is only a reading for a male. This could be for a woman. The Ten of Wands is a burden and highly masculine. Just think of the symbolism of a wand. And enough said there. And of course, there's a ton of masculine energy here in general. Between the wands and the swords, we have only one pentacle. The Devil's very masculine. It's Capricorn. Earth energy, but a very fiery type of an earth energy. Very masculine. But up above here, the higher side, we have the Hermit, which is Virgo. Feminine earth energy. And then, of course, the Queen of Swords, which is a very feminine card, but in a masculine sense. So if anyone is a balance of the feminine and the masculine, the Queen of Swords is definitely a pick there. She's known for her abilities of her mind, as well as her balance with the water side of her. She is the water of air. And again, truth, which is coming through with the Knight and the Queen. And then I think the Two of Swords here is another, if we think of the Two of Swords classically from the Rider-Waite, it's a woman holding two swords in front of water, in fact, on a crescent moon. So in one sense, the Emperor card is a balanced card, in the perfect sense. However, it is the masculine polarity. And also Aries. So there's something of war going on here, because we have the curled horns there, and then of course the devil card here, with the curled horns here. Curled horns of the ram, and then looks like a ram skull to me. Maybe it's a goat. Probably a goat. Yeah. So being bound or being extremely angry would definitely be a Capricorn and Aries type of an energy. So, and that is what's outside. So perhaps there is a something that's keeping someone from becoming more feminine, and it very well could be like a family dynamic, shared roles in a family, and there's too much masculine being performed by the woman, or there's too much feminine, it would be too much masculine being performed by the male. Like he needs to take a break. And here, of course, the Six of Pentacles, we have the balances, the charity. And so we can think of this again as a card of discernment, as a card of choices of who's going to get what. And here, I think that is telling us that there's a need to add more feminine energy to this situation. And going back over here to the cross, it looks like the Hanged Man, of course, is, again, we're looking at it from a new perspective. We are moving away from this, and so we're kind of realizing that something is definitely got to give, and we've got to kick the legs out of something with this tower here to relieve this burden. And introspection is going to lead us to a kind of peaceful resolution to this, or hope for a peaceful resolution, one that's balanced, one that's fair. If this is a relationship, and maybe this is some kind of a breakup, and someone is experiencing a breakup, I think whether you're man or woman, you need to take into account what type of energy you're embodying here. So if you're a male and all you're doing is action, you need to take a more of a passive role. You need to make less demands, or become more introspective, much more introspective. That feminine introspection with the Hermit here, that earth energy, that feminine earth energy. There's definitely a balance that we have to find. And when we're stepping outside of kind of our, I guess, nature, which would be something like the devil here, this is kind of going against our will, something that is taking from our natural states and placing us somewhere that we don't want to be, or rather our natural states aren't balanced in. And then on the positive side, the devil is also that card of personal power. So no matter which direction this is taking us, there has to be a balance here. We have to make this balanced. And again, if this is some sort of breakup, separation, divorce, whichever party you happen to be in this, there must be equity, must be discernment, there must be a balance struck in order to bring peace. And that is what will ultimately be the truth, because I see the queens as very much like concerning the past. They're looking over their current kingdom, and both parties in this situation want to be able to look back and not feel like it was wasted here. And again, the Emperor's energy being front and center, I feel is part of the warning of being in too hyper masculine of energy, where this is not a situation for an imbalance. This isn't a situation where the feminine takes the back seat. This is a situation where both male, female in both parties, the sacred masculine and the sacred feminine in both parties balances. And that will lead, that's what's going to bring us to this truth. And being in an emperor type of an energy, no matter what side of this you're on, masculine or feminine, woman or man, is good, but here again I think it's a warning. So let's take another look at the runes here now with the cards out. Yeah, I think that's why that masculine rune, Thorazol's, is sitting in the center here. That's not the balance point. The balance point should be this. Should be Ansu's in the center, because this is the insight, this is communication, this is both sides working together, not against each other, not sitting so close to each other that those two polarities are repelling or attracting. It's pushing together so hard that they're going to break. There needs to be the balance of insight, communication, and then there can be some sort of a peace, a new beginning here with Berkana, or even like an abundance type of an energy. We have the Six of Pentacles here, which is, of course, like we've arrived at an abundance with the Six of Pentacles. And yeah, I think that's where our devil's coming in. The devil here is the thorn, the Thor rune, or the thorn, right? Quite literally, the thorn. That's the painful. That's what's in the side of this, and there needs to be the insight on this side with Ansu's being the first rune. The change needs to be Ansu's needs to enter into the second place and balance both these out. This is a great anger. This is danger. And again, the danger of hyper-masculinity. And this is a rune of fertility. Berkana is the goddess rune. We're already there. And the giants, classically, are always a problem. They're always the antagonist. And Ansu's being Odin's rune is absolutely warning us, telling us there needs to be something between these two placed. And let's get a little more clarification with the Rider-Waite here. I think that'll help a bit. Just general advice, I think, huh? That's why maybe something that will help balance the situation. Oh, okay. Oh. Queen of Pentacles reversed. The Star reversed. Start that again. Let's do another one. Two. World. Okay. So the Six of Cups, the World, the Star in reverse, and the Queen of Pentacles in reverse. If this is some sort of a breakup, I think this beginning part is part of the warning that a reverse Queen of Pentacles could be definitely kind of like an overly masculine Queen of Pentacles. So this would be covetousness, being greedy, actually maybe less greedy and just not happy with what you have, not recognizing the bounty that you already sit, and also the past, in looking at the past negatively. And then the Star in reverse here, this is like looking at this maybe if, again, if we're using the example of a breakup or just troubles in a relationship, looking at the past here as some kind of a curse as opposed to a blessing. And so, cover that up. Now with the world and the Six of Cups, it's the end of a cycle. And this is the card of nostalgia and also old friendships. The boy giving the girl some flowers in a cup. So if this is something specific for someone, this could be, you can't turn this old blessing into a curse. The star in reverse here. The star in reverse is not a curse, is a curse. Say, an anti-blessing, I suppose you could say. And the Six of Cups in the world, there's a completion here. There's a cycle. It doesn't necessarily mean something's over, though. It doesn't mean the end of a relationship, necessarily. It could mean just the end of a certain part. Maybe this is a card. This grouping here is telling us it's time to grow up. And if there is money involved, which we have a card of money right there, this is something to do with money. That helps explain the Queen here, the reversed Queen of Pentacles. And of course the star in reverse, where there's some sort of view that this is a curse and it's from the past. It was a bad choice. But I don't think that's true. And I think part of this Queen of Swords here is to cut away this perspective. This is the perspective here that needs to get moved away from. And maybe one of the parties here has indeed recognized this and knows that it's time to grow up. It's time to grow up. And leave this Six of Cups as a memory, a happy memory. Don't poison this memory. This is for somebody or a couple who's been together a long time. That's exactly what this is telling us, is we can't create a poison out of how many ever years you've spent together. However, this is not going to be easy. Whatever this is not easy. This is a tower. This is cutting loose something. But this could be cutting, you could see this as cutting loose the pain of whatever's causing this. And I think, again, the Six of Pentacles, I'm just moving the Hermit here. The Six of Pentacles here is definitely, could be telling you to balance the bank account, to get that checkbook in order. And this, the devil, in this case, if we're talking about something like that, like money, this would be whatever bad spending habits are bringing you there. And this Emperor energy, this might be exactly what we want in a certain degree, but we have to recognize that the Emperor is like an ending point in the tarot. It's kind of where it's not an end point per se, but it is a point of completion. The Emperor has what he wants, and he's going to go get more. And while that could be seen as greedy, it might not be if he's a good emperor. A good emperor is not out of greed; it's out of like a want to preserve and protect. And that's where this Queen of Pentacles in reverse energy is coming in, that maybe there is like a sense that, oh, they're just greedy, oh, they're just money hungry, they just want to, or they just want all the things at once. And that's probably not true. It's for the future. That's what abundance now can bring, is if we're going to keep a hold of the abundance we have now, that's what it's there for, is for a better future. And the Queen of Swords would know that. Even though she is a card of the past, she's undoubtedly looking at the future at times. She understands that what we have from the past is what will write us into the future. So again, this is some kind of a relationship situation. Please remember this. Remember the times you've spent together and the cycle that you're through now or coming upon. Might hurt, might feel like everything's tumbling down, the end of an era sort of thing. But in all truth, no matter if this is a divorce that is going to go through or a reconciliation in a relationship, it's time to grow up. It's time to move on and move towards the Emperor and the Empress. I think that'll do for this reading. If you found value in it, please like and subscribe, as well as share it with those who might need to hear it. And with that, take care, everyone.